So to be honest, I'm sort of worried about doing this video. Not because it's like a controversial topic or anything, but the second you say taxes, a lot of people just turn off. They find it boring, they find it tedious, and I get it. I do as well. But the issue of taxes are incredibly important. And as the old adage goes, two things in life are certain: death and taxes. So, as someone on the left who has said continuously, not only do I think the left needs to get a better handle on economics, but also we need to be able to understand and tell people about taxes a whole lot more effectively. Because our society, especially in the UK, our tax code is a complete mess. Bear in mind, our current tax code goes all the way back to about something like 1888, something like that. Like, that's how old it is, and all that has happened is we've kept on adding on top of like continuously on top of it. So this is where you get like the bizarre rules of the taxing of, like, a London black cab has to have a bale of hay in its boot. That's technically a law, but it's again to do with a bizarre tax law that is, again, it gets really bizarre, our tax law. And part of the big problem is we need to really just get the book, throw it all out on a fire, and just start again from scratch. Because the biggest problem with it is very often we try to close loopholes, we end up opening an even larger one elsewhere. And that's part of our problem. We need to go back and rewrite our tax code from complete scratch. So today we're going to be talking about taxes, but before we do get into talking about taxes, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page, as well as one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, buy me a coffee. And as always, there are also the YouTube membership out now, open as well. So thank you very much to all the people who do support the channel that way as well, before I forget. So on with today's article. This comes from The Guardian, and the title is, "If the British understood taxes better, perhaps we would vote for them to be fairer." So, tax is a social contract that binds citizens together. Tax is not a burden, but the price we pay for civilization. Vaccines are just the latest reminder of the good that taxes do. But if most people, even those who think themselves well informed, know little of the tax that they actually pay, where does it go, or how fairly it falls? Democracy depends on citizens understanding what they vote for. Ignorance breeds dangerous misconceptions. The Tax Lab, an information service unveiled by the new Institute for Fiscal Studies, is a wonder of elegant clarity. Its impartial explainers reveals everything that everyone should know, and it's guaranteed to surprise most people. 2 years in construction, the Economic and Social Research Council, or the ESRC, and Friends of the Provident Foundational Fund funded it to create a better informed electorate. A mouse click shows that most people in Britain pay less tax in 2019 figures, at 33% of GDP, than the average EU of at least 39%, while in Denmark it's 46%. Put in your pay, and Tax Lab shows exactly where you stand in the income pecking order. People wildly miscalculate, both rich and poor, placing themselves too near the middle. Young people are generous to older people, but if you understand the tax bias benefiting retired people, then they might be more likely to vote. Avoiders and even evaders rouse the wrath of the obedient taxpayers, but people should see the inbuilt injustices and the myriad of tax reliefs forever stuck like barnacles to the Treasury Devised of ill-conceived incentives by successive chancellors, David Cameron's Daily Mail pleasing marriage bonus is among the daftest of them. Heron Millier, the IFS's deputy director, burns with indignation about bad taxes, failing taxes and unjust taxes, deceitful taxes, and, above all, people's ignorance of them. Let the North not be deceived by levelling up when council tax hits them far harder than Londoners. Top band London pays 3 times more than bottom band Northerners, despite property values rising 8 times higher. The revelation could see Northerners' bills fall by about 20% and London bills rise. Miller strongly advocates for merging income tax and national insurance, equalising their rates. National insurance is the last vestige of Belridge's defunct social insurance that never did what it pretended. Why do low earners stop paying it before income tax, while high earners don't even pay it at the top tax rate? Why don't even high earning pensioners pay national insurances? Why are incomes from shares and rents also exempt? Why do self-employed people pay less, costing the Treasury approximately $5.9 billion? No, it's not to save the white van man, as the Sun claimed, but it's for the very rich self-employed partners, such as dentists and city lawyers. The whole farrago, as Miller says, is a complete deceit. People think that there's a link between paying in and the benefits they get out, but now that's vanishingly weak. National insurance is unfair income in tax disguise. But here's where the logic and honesty meet politics. Rational demands rational tax reforms, but the chancellors belch at the emotion of it. Merging income tax and national insurance would reveal the top tax rate to be 53%. No chancellor dared rise income tax after 1975 until Gordon Brown's 2010 last gasp lifted the top rate to 50%. Chancellors opt for stealth and avoid any reforms that creates a few noisy losers. The US President Joe Biden leads the world gradually to cut global tax avoidance, but without individual losers. Louis XVI's finance minister, Jean-Baptiste Cobard, famously advocated for stealing the most feathers from the goose while attracting the least hissing. But things don't always work out that way. The Boston Tea Party and Margaret Thatcher's career-ending poll tax are further reasons why chancellors choose irrational but the least unpopular taxes, instead of the wisest or even the most fairest. People hate inheritance tax most, so the Tories promised to raise the threshold to £1 million despite soaring unearned wealth inequality. But an Englishman untaxed home is his castle. Voters are unreasonable, demanding, and Scandinavian-style services on a US low-tax style rates. Miller thinks logic and reason can only prevail if voters have good information. Take that. Poverty campaigners plead for more exemptions on food, children's clothes, tampons, etc. But exemptions benefit the high-spending rich most, when Miller says that the $50 billion cost could be better spent directly on poorer people. Paul Johnson, the director of the IFS, says that there is a stalemate with our knockabout politics. Take the urgent need for social care. Any tax proposed to pay for this gets condemned as a death tax or a tax on homes. Losers always make the most noise. Thatcher said that you will always spend £1 in your pocket better than the state will. This remains the key political divide. The left believes that our taxes buy everything we value beyond price: health, security, education, beautiful parks and public stadiums. There we go. Public spaces, fine stadiums and leisure centres, museums and galleries. In a country to be proud of, their burdens are fairly shared out and no one falls below the civilised living standards. This requires fairer taxes, fairly raised, and the right relies on fiscal ignorance. The IFS is implacably neutral, but its tax lab will be a great asset for progressives. And I have to say, I have actually checked it out. It is actually really, really interesting when you actually take a look at what tax you pay and where it actually goes. So, to be honest, I would urge you, if you think that, quote, taxes are fair and you are paying your fair share or something like that, this is actually a great tool to go and find out where your taxes go, and to find out that actually there are a lot of people, especially a lot of really wealthy people, making out like bandits with, as we said, a lot of very, very wealthy things, like they said with the self-employment thing. This doesn't really help the white van man, as to quote what the article said there, the Sun claimed. It was mainly only going to help very rich city lawyers and dentists. And like I say, this is unfortunately a case where the losers always tend to be the loudest. So we really, really have to go away to find a way not only to make taxes more fair, but equally distributing them as well. And I think the idea of combining national insurance with the what was it? Was it combining? Where is it? National insurance. Yeah, that's it. Merging income tax and national insurance. I think that might actually be a good idea, to be honest. But again, we have to find a way to be able to advocate that. And as I've said a lot before, we need to find a way to be able to better PR spin this. Because like we said there are numerous examples of where basically, because people are so misinformed on this, they don't really understand, or at least they think that they're currently paying their fair share, or that, like I say, the marriage tax was somehow beneficial to them, when it really, really wasn't. It's benefited a lot more rich people than anything else. But again, this is a system and something that we on the left are really, really going to have to take on, and this is going to be quite difficult. However, this tool, the tax lab, go use it, go find out, and then if you know someone who maybe would vote for progressive stuff but thinks they're paying fair tax, get them to use this. You might actually surprise them. And like I say, this is something that we really have to tackle with on the left. I think the better we are able to sell it, the more likely people are to go for it and want this. And as we said, the more people understand taxes, the more likely they are to vote for a fairer tax system and more equal, fairer distribution. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, as well as one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much, and we'll see you all next time.